Striding across the room, her mood lifted even further when two submissives in her path quickly moved to the side to let her pass. That never hurt any mistress's ego. When she reached her friends, she paused before sitting down. Knowing they'd just worked through some intense relationship business, she didn't want to butt in if they needed some alone time. "May I?" "Of course," Louisa answered, shooting Alex the widest smile she'd seen on her friend's face in a long time. Yeah, the two of them had probably done a bit more than talk out their differences. Good for them. "I take it you two had a good time." Alex let her gaze land on Louisa's sub, who tilted his body to lean against his mistress. Noticing her look, Teddy blushed, which only made him look like more of a puppy. The kid was too cute. As if noticing her sub's momentary shyness, Louisa spoke up, answering Alex's question. "We did. Teddy and I decided to be exclusive." Alex could feel Teddy's eyes on her, and she guessed he was eager to hear her response. They'd seen together in the past, though there hadn't been great chemistry between them, and she'd gladly set him up with Louisa. Of course, he was probably more curious because, as his mistress's best friend, her approval would mean something to Louisa. Not that there was any chance she'd be anything less than thrilled for them. Alex smiled. "It's good to hear that. I wish you both all the best." They should have moved on to chatting about the scene the two were watching, or maybe discuss any of the upcoming events at the club. Anything casual that would round off a normal night at the club. Instead, Louisa's eyes rounded, no longer focused on Alex. Then she gasped. Before Alex had a chance to turn around, Louisa's eyes flicked back to her, before, once again, moving away quickly to look at something, or someone, behind Alex. Even before Louisa spoke, Alex felt the hairs on her arm rise in a primal response. "Alex, Benedict just walked in." It took only a couple of seconds for the name to travel to her brain and cause her entire body to seize up. The only movement possible, although not one she consciously decided on, was the turning of her head towards the entrance area behind her. There he stood, tall with broad shoulders and a scruffy beard. He looked a little older, but still the same somehow, and her brain couldn't make sense of seeing him here. Keeping eye contact, Benedict moved in their direction, and with that, the person who had wrecked her, heart and soul, simply walked back into her life as if it was the most normal thing in the world. "It looks like he's coming over," Teddy offered unnecessarily. Alex ignored him, her eyes fixed on Benedict, even though part of her wanted to look away and pretend this wasn't happening. When he arrived at the booth, Benedict went down on his knees beside her chair, almost as if he still had the right to kneel at her feet, as if there was still a place there for him. There wasn't, and Alex couldn't bring herself to do anything but stare at him. Ignoring everyone else, Benedict focused only on her. "Alex, I know I have no right to call you mistress right now, but I wanted you to know that I'm here to win you back." Never in her life had she felt more dumbstruck, thunderstruck. Whatever melodramatic expression there was for feeling like your life had just moved from perfectly normal to alternate reality, where people who had vanished just reappeared and dared to say the very words they didn't have the right to ever utter. With some effort, Alex did what she'd learned to do after Benedict had walked out on her 4 years ago. She pushed down the hurt, the anger, and the shock, shaking her head to focus on what she needed to do. She hadn't earned her reputation as a competent mistress in the club by letting her emotions get the best of her. Turning, she let her eyes move over Teddy, before locking eyes with her best friend. Excuse me, please, while I inform Jessica that someone without a membership has somehow made it past reception.